Good morning, folks. It's the Jacinto Trail Report from here at Jacinto Peak. It is the 2nd of January 2026, just after 8 o'clock in the morning. And just going to go off on a slight tangent to start because it's start of a new year. Just wanted to thank everybody who has supported the Trail Report in 2025 and in the years before that. This YouTube channel isn't monetized because of how small it is and the effort that goes into doing this channel, but also primarily into the website. Jacinto Trail Report is supported by small private donations from readers and viewers, and at the website there's a list of supporters, and I try to keep that as thorough as possible. And folks watching this, you know who you are. Thank you so much for the support. It's covers the modest operating costs, and it's invaluable. So thank you. And moving on to what's happened in the last couple of days, which is basically rain. Let's take a quick pan around, and you will see we have an unusual situation where we've got cloud almost everywhere. We've got a marine layer coming in through the pass here in front of the San Bernardinos. We've actually got cloud all the way across the Mojave. I mean, Joshua trees out in there somewhere, and a full cloud layer out there is pretty rare. We've even got what I call the desert layer, which is the opposite of the marine layer. Desert divide runs down through here, and then there is a full thick marine layer at about 9,000 feet. It was still drizzling on me when I left Idlewild this morning. It has rained in Idlewild for basically 48 hours straight. It's kind of come and gone a little bit. Started about 7 a.m. on the 31st of December. Got a little bit patchy yesterday afternoon. Sort of thought it had finished, but checking the rain gauge, it still did another tenth overnight. So we've got an impressive, it's about 2.9 inches in Idlewild. That's storm total. So that's basically in the 2 days, 48 hours. I checked the rain gauge at Wellman Cienega on the way up, and I need to double check it on the way back down because it's still partially frozen, but it looks like it's something around 5.5 inches, and that would be in the less than 48 hours. I checked it on the 31st, so that's really prodigious rainfall, and you can see some evidence of that up here at San Jacinto Peak. So right here at the peak we added probably about 2 inches of snow. Just kind of what you can see fresh on the rocks, which is pretty Spartan. But as you can see here on the trees, we're looking right here behind me over my shoulder, absolutely plastered with ice. There's kind of a hint of snow in underneath, but it's everything above about 9,000, a little bit above 9,000, just plastered with freezing rain, with the evidence of rain having frozen. And you'll see, take a look at my feet, even the snow, what little snow there was both admixed with rain and freezing rain, and probably some sleet and slush and who knows what else. And then it finished up with a final coating of just freezing rain. So it was just rock solid. Once I hit snow, which is at about right around Wellman Divide, coming up this way, about 9,800, which is largely remnant snow from, some of it's from November, but some from the storms in late December. And take a look at, so I have spikes on, and hopefully that's fairly visible, but it is just rock solid, and you can see how it's just sort of more ice drops, ice balls on top of the snow. And in fact, in these microspikes Ghost, which have the shorter spikes, they have the 8mm spikes as opposed to 11mm spikes. in a few spots they were actually struggling to grip. It's so hard. Obviously now that the sun's come out, it'll start to soften, but it was it was rock hard. It makes for a beautiful hiking surface. It's very easy going, but it is really hard. And so about 2 inches here. There was barely an inch, maybe at 10,500 feet, literally just down at the junction of the Peak and Deer Springs trails, and just the vaguest hint of a dusting, which you can actually see over on Zangagonia, over on my shoulder there, behind my shoulder. Looks like it's about snowed properly, maybe an inch down to maybe 10,000 over there, but barely dusted below that. So broadly speaking, similar on this side. But a story of rain and ice, prodigious amounts of rain. As I came up Devil's Slide Trail at Jolly Spring, it was just gushing. I took some photos in the dark and just thought, wow, this reminds me of April, when we get a sudden warm up in April if we have a snowpack and it suddenly all melts off. And then I realized that's basically what's happened. It just, unfortunately, we didn't really have a snowpack to speak of, although on that north side of Tuckwitz, which is where that snow would have come from, there was a reasonable amount in places up below Chinkapin Flat and up in the Palisades and where the hinterland wall is, that kind of area. And that would have it was so mild, so warm that it melted off. So it's not just the volume of rain, it's all of the snow that it's taken with it. Like I say, there's negligible snow really below 10,000 feet. And even up here, there was a couple of inches left from the storms in November. Plus, like I say, an extra couple of inches right here around the peak. It looks impressive because it's encased in this just solid ice layer right now, but it's actually pretty Spartan. So microspikes, invaluable. I'd carry them above 9,000 feet because some of the rocks are pretty icy right now as well, just because everything's covered in rain and freezing rain. That's obviously going to melt off. So in terms of future weather, this was storm number 6 of the winter. And number 7 comes in on Sunday, which is the 4th of January. It's a little bit cooler, but it's not expected to bring significant precipitation. I think the expectation is again for another couple of 3 inches up here at the peak of snow. It is a cooler system. There may be a dusting of snow lower down, perhaps down to 8,000, maybe even a little bit below that. Beyond that, there's a possibility of another cooler system. I think that's more around the 9th, 10th, 11th, but the forecasts are pretty unclear on that at this point, and that's obviously too far away to be confident. So unsettled for the next few days again. Chances of precipitation, particularly in the sort of rain, particularly in the mid elevations. I think tomorrow, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe even into the 6th a little bit, but nothing like the last few days. More a sort of quarter to half inch a day at the most, and mainly focused on the mid elevations. So spikes, obviously no depth for snowshoes, no real depth even for crampons would be. You could use them right today, you could use them only because it's so hard, but it's not going to stay that way for long. But spikes generally are ample. And otherwise a pretty spectacular day up here in the San Jacinto Mountains, and safe hiking everyone just in the next few days and in 2026.